don't wait. But there may be some folks who are still undecided, just decided you wanted to hear Steve. I can't argue with that. But for those of you or your friends or your neighbors who are still trying to make up their minds, this is not just a choice between two candidates or two parties. It's a choice between two different visions of the matter. It's a choice between a return to the top-down policies that crashed our economy, or the strong, growing, middle-class-based policies that are getting us out of a crisis. I understand, but as Americans, we believe in the free market. We believe in free enterprise. We believe in the strivers, the dreamers, the risk-takers. We know they've always been the driving force behind our economy, the greatest engine of growth and prosperity the world's ever known. That's what we believe. But we also believe that in this country, the free market and free enterprise work best when everybody's got a chance to participate. When everybody's getting a good education and the skills they need to compete. When together we're investing in research for medical breakthroughs and new technologies. We believe America works best, is stronger, when everybody can count on affordable health insurance, just like Julie and me. When they can count on Medicare and Social Security in their golden years. When there are rules to protect our kids from pollution. Rules to protect consumers from being taken advantage of by unscrupulous credit card companies or mortgage lenders. And then we believe there's some things that Washington should just stay out of, like we believe no politician, especially a whole bunch of male politicians in Washington, should control the health care choices we make. For 8 years, we had a president who shared these beliefs. His name was Bill Clinton. His economic plan, when he came in, asked the wealthiest Americans to pay a little more so we could reduce our deficit and invest in the skills and ideas of our people. And at the time, the Republican Congress and the Senate candidate by the name of Mitt Romney said that Bill Clinton's plan would hurt the economy and kill jobs. Turns out his math was just as bad back then as it is now. And our deficit became the biggest surplus in history. So, our ideas have been put to the test. We know they work. Now, the other guys' ideas have been put to the test also. Because after President Clinton, we had 8 years in which we tried giving big tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans. We tried giving insurance companies and oil companies on Wall Street a free license to do whatever they please. And what we got was falling incomes and record deficits and the slowest job growth in 50 years and an economic crisis that we're still cleaning our way out of. So, you stay with me. We got ideas that work, and we got ideas that don't work. And so the choice should be pretty clear. But Governor Romney's a very talented salesman. And so in this campaign, he's tried as hard as he can to repackage the old ideas that didn't work as new ideas. In fact, he's offered them up as change. Says he's a candidate of change. Now here's the thing, Cincinnati. It turns out we know what change looks like. Another $5 trillion tax cut that favors the wealthy? Not change. Refusing to answer questions about the details of your policy until after the election? Definitely not change. That's the oldest trick in the book. Party's agenda in Congress, not change. Changing the facts when they're inconvenient to your campaign, not change. Governor Romney's been having a tough time here in Ohio because everybody knows he was against saving the auto industry in a state where 1 in 8 jobs is connected to the American auto industry. So he decided to solve that problem by running ads that say the Jeep plant here in Ohio is shipping jobs to China, even though everyone knows the Jeep plant isn't shipping jobs to China. That's not a good closing argument to the people of Ohio. And you know, the problem is, this isn't a game. You don't scare people just to scare up some votes. You don't have workers in the Jeep plant calling up the boss saying, am I about to lose my job because they see an ad on TV that's not true. That's not what we're doing. So, when you're thinking about this choice, when you're talking to your friends and neighbors about this choice, you've got to remind them it's not just about policy, it's also about trust. Who do you trust? Look, Ohio, you know me by now. You may not agree with every decision I've made. Michelle doesn't agree with me on everything. You may sometimes be frustrated at the pace of change. I get frustrated at the pace of change sometimes. But, you know, I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I said I didn't want to run. I ended the war to run. I said I'd pass out for a report. I passed it. I said I'd repeal, don't ask, don't tell. I repealed it. I said I'd help young people afford a college education. We expanded it. Change looks like. It's because I fought for it. Because I delivered it. Because I've got the scars to prove it. Because that's why my hair went gray. And Ohio, after all we've been together, we can't give up on it now. We got to keep on going and vote for more change. Parents, I want you to hit the bus now. Is that fun? But don't tell me that hiring more teachers won't help this economy grow. Of course it will. Don't tell me that students who can't afford college should just borrow money from their parents. That wasn't an option for me. It's not an option for a lot of you. That's why I want to cut the growth of tuition in half over the next 10 years. That's why I want to recruit 100,000 math and science teachers so our kids don't fall behind the rest of the world. That's why I want to train 2 million Americans at our community colleges with the skills that businesses are hiring for right now. That's my plan. That's what change is. That's what we're fighting for in this election. Country's legacy of innovation. I'm very proud that I bet on building wind turbines, building solar panels. I don't want a tax code that simply subsidizes oil company profits when they're making money hand over fist. I want to support the energy jobs of tomorrow. I want to support the new technology that will kill our oil imports in half. I don't want a tax code that rewards companies shipping jobs overseas. I want to reward companies investing here in Ohio, manufacturing with American workers. Change is turning the page on a decade of war, so we can do some nation building here at home. And as long as I'm commander-in-chief, we will pursue our enemies with the strongest military the world's ever done. But it's time for us to use some of the savings from ending the wars in Iraq and winding down transitioning in Afghanistan to pay down our debt, to rebuild America. Let's put some folks back to work right now, repairing roads and bridges. There's a bridge right here in Cincinnati needs some work. Let's make sure we've got schools that are state-of-the-art all across this country. And let's especially hire our veterans. Because if you fought for this country and its freedom, you shouldn't have to fight for a job when you come home. That's what'll keep us strong. That's my commitment to you. And that's what's at stake in this election. You know, change is a future where we reduce our deficit and our debt, but we do it in a balanced, responsible way. And I've signed $1 trillion worth of spending cuts. I intend to do more. But if we're serious about our deficit, we can't just cut our way to prosperity. We've also got to ask the wealthiest Americans to go back to the same tax rates they paid when building these problems. And the reason Cincinnati is because our budget is about choices, it's about values, it's about priorities. But we can't do everything. We've got to make some decisions in terms of what's important. And as long as I'm president, I won't turn Medicare into a voucher just to pay for another millionaire's tax cut. I won't throw kids off a Head Start just to pay for another tax cut for me. I don't need it. Those kids need right on me. So we know what changes. We know what the future requires. And we also know it's not easy. It's not easy to bring about change. You know, back in 2008, when we talked about change, we believe in, I warned for people, look, I wasn't just talking about changing presidents, I wasn't just talking about changing political parties. I was talking about changing how our system of politics works. I ran because the voices of the American people, your voices, had been shut out of our democracy for way too long by lobbyists and special interests, politicians who would say and do whatever it takes just to keep things the way they are. The protectors of the status quo. They're powerful. And they've fought us every step of the way in Washington. They spent millions to try to stop us from reforming health care. They spent millions to try to stop us from reforming Wall Street. And when we got all those things through, they engineered a strategy of gridlock in Congress, refusing to compromise even on ideas that both Democrats and Republicans used to support, like Obamacare, which started out in Massachusetts under Governor Romney. They were fine. Some of it was terrible under Democrat going forward. And the reason they've done this, look, it's a strategy. They made a calculation. What they're counting on is that you'll be so worn down by all the squabbling. You'll be tired of all the dysfunction. You'll just be fed up and you'll ultimately give up on the idea of change. You'll walk away. You'll leave them in power. You'll decide things can't change. In other words, their bet is on cynicism. But Ohio, my bet's on you. class taxes, to cut taxes for small businesses. We came together to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We had some courageous Republican senators here involved. I will work with anybody of any party to move this country forward. And if you want to break the gridlock in Congress, you vote for leaders, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, Independents, who feel the same way, who put you first, who don't put politics or the next election first. But if you want meaningful change that actually helps families, then we also have some principles. There have to be some things that we're willing to fight for. If the price of peace in Washington is cutting deals that get students off of financial aid, or get rid of funding for Planned Parenthood, or let insurance companies discriminate against people with pre-existing conditions, or eliminate health care for millions on Medicaid who are poor, or elderly, or disabled, then that's a price I'm not willing to pay. That's not bipartisanship. That's not change. That's surrender to the same status quo that has hurt too many families for too long, and I am not ready to give up on the fight this year. They'll always have a seat at the table.
So will.
They'll always have access and influence.
So will.
The people who need a champion are the Americans whose letters I read late at night when I get up from the Oval Office. The men and women I meet on the campaign trail every day. The laid-off worker who has to go back at the age of 55 and retrain at a community college. She needs a champion. The restaurant owner who has some really good food, but not a lot of money in it. Needs a loan to expand after the bank turned him down. He needs a champion. The cooks and the waiters and the cleaning staff working overtime at a Cincinnati hotel trying to save it up to buy a first home or send their kid to college. They need a champion. The other worker back on the job feeling proud because he's building a great car. He needs a champion. That teacher in the classroom, overcrowded classroom, taking into her own pocket to buy school supplies, not getting the support she needs, but knowing maybe this day that one child will learn something, and that makes it all worthwhile. She needs a champion. All those kids in inner cities, the small farm towns, in the valleys of Ohio, the rolling Virginia hills, kids dreaming of becoming scientists or doctors or engineers or entrepreneurs, businessmen, diplomats, maybe even the president. They need a champion in Washington. They don't have a lobbyist. The future doesn't have the same kind of lobbyist as the status quo, but it's the dreams of those children that will be our saving grace. And that's why I need you, Ohio, to make sure their voices are heard, to make sure your voices are heard. We've come too far to turn back now. We've come too far to let our hearts go away. We've got to keep pushing forward to educate all our kids, to train all our workers, to create new jobs, to bring our troops home, to care for our veterans, to broaden opportunity, to grow a middle class, to restore our democracy, to make sure that no matter who you are, or where you come from, or how you started out, or what you look like, you can make it in America.